Thanks for tuning in. It's 1 p.m. Thursday, April 24th here in Korea, live from Seoul. I'm Ju. Today is the last day of the neap tide cycle when currents reach their slowest points and rescuers are accelerating their operations at the site of the Sewol-ho ferry accident as weather conditions there are expected to worsen during the weekend. Hopes for any survivors are increasingly dimming at this point as the death toll continues to rise with only more bodies being retrieved from the site. The death toll at this hour stands at 167, leaving the number of the missing passengers at 135, most of them students from Ansan Dawon High School. The rescue team has been attempting to enter the center area of the fourth floor cabins, where most of the students are believed to have stayed when the ferry capsized, but no word yet on whether that was a success. Today's rescue operations will be conducted with the biggest rescue team yet, with more than 700 rescue personnel, 261 rescue boats, and 35 aircraft. The rescue teams have been focusing their search on the third and fourth floors of the vessel, and so far, they said they have found no air pockets, reducing the chance of finding any survivors. And moving on to the joint investigation by the police and prosecutors, out of the 15 rescued crew members that left a capsizing Sewol-ho ferry, some or maybe even all of the 11 crew members that have been taken into custody could face charges. The prosecution is looking into whether the crew could be charged with what's called negligent homicide. The owner of the Sewol-ho ferry, Cheonghaejin Marine Company, meanwhile, is also under fire. Following the raid of the offices and homes of the company owner Yoo Byung-won yesterday, the prosecution is looking into whether the Cheonghaejin company had used its finances to bribe high-ranking government officials. The company's audit report last year shows its entertainment expenses since 2001 amounted to over $900,000. The government, meanwhile, has ordered all ministries to review their disaster countermeasure manuals after the Coast Guard and the government's slow response to the sinking spurred outrage by the public and the victims' families. Tens of thousands of mourners are paying tribute and saying their last goodbyes to the victims of the ferry sinking at a temporary group memorial altar set up in Ansan, the city most touched by the disaster. Just yesterday alone, a total of 13,000 mourners visited the site, including politicians and celebrities. The temporary altar will be open for 24 hours until an official group memorial altar is set up next week. For those people who can't make it to Ansan, the local government has opened a messaging service so they can send text messages of condolences. Shifting our focus to some other news now, Korea's gross domestic product grew at the fastest pace in more than 3 years in the first quarter of this year. The Bank of Korea said Thursday that the country's real GDP grew 3.9% in the 3 months from a year earlier, the highest jump since the first quarter of 2011. Compared to the previous 3 months, the economy expanded 0.9%, maintaining its growth of around 1% for the third consecutive quarter. The growth was helped by strong exports, expanding consumer spending, and the recovering construction sector. Facilities investment and imports, however, dropped from the last quarter of 2013. The central bank said growth was in line with its previous forecast. Well, that's about it for now. More developments on the ferry disaster coming up in about half an hour, so do stay tuned.